Hey everybody, this is Jason with Outdoor Adventures, and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to talk about packing your backpack. To start off with, don't overthink this. It's not a complicated process. You just want to remember a couple things. One, you want to pack your heaviest items toward your back. Okay, if you pack your heaviest items, in the back of your backpack, it's going to weigh you down. It's going to throw off your center of gravity, which is why you put all your heavy items, toward your back, toward the inner part of your pack. Second, you want to keep your backpack level. You don't want to have some heavy gear on the left and your lighter gear on the right. You want to kind of split those two pieces of heavy and light gear up, and so you're pretty much balanced. Water weight has a lot to do with this. Water is probably going to be one of the heaviest things you're going to have to carry, but it's just something that our body needs as humans, so you just kind of have to deal with it. The most commonly asked question whenever a new backpacker is coming with me is they say to me, "What did I forget?" And I say to them, "Well, what did you bring?" And for the most part they can tell me what they bring, but they usually leave a lot of stuff out just because they don't know. They just started throwing stuff in their backpack. What I really highly recommend, and there's a couple sites on the internet to help you with this, sign up for a gear list website. Okay, they're free, they don't ask you a lot of information, basically just a username and password, and they are tremendously helpful. I personally am on lighterpack.com, and I can go online, I can enter all the stuff that I have acquired for my camping and hiking equipment. I can put that all on a list, separate it by category, and then I can kind of use this as a checklist of things I need to bring for every trip. Whenever you get more comfortable, they also have a spot on lighterpack.com or geargrams.com. You can use whatever you want. They're pretty much the same thing. There's also a spot where you can weigh your gear. And I have listed all my weights and the items that I bring. And this has been proven to be a tremendous resource for me. It's very, very helpful, and this is what I tell every new backpacker to do. So lighterpack.com, sign up for a free account. It doesn't cost anything. There's no advertisements. It's just made by backpackers just like you and me, and they don't get anything from this. It's a really nice service is what I'm trying to say. But right now I have everything that you see right here listed on my Lighter Pack, so I know I have every single piece of camping equipment that I need for a trip. I'm not forgetting anything. And I will just keep referring to this and just make sure I have everything. Now, a couple things before we get started with actually packing. I'm using an Osprey Exos 48 liter. It doesn't have a lot of organizational pockets on it. Pretty much it's just the top lid, and underneath the top lid will have a mesh pocket, and then the front of the pack has a mesh pocket, and then I have two hip belt pockets. That's pretty much it. If you have a pack where there's lots of zippers and pulls and little special secret compartments, that's fine too. Just adjust accordingly, but keep the principles in mind that I told you. Heavy stuff near your back, centered on left and right. Now, I'm not going to show how I pack my food in this video. If you want to see that organization, I have it in the backpacking food video, which is a video earlier in this series. So for now, I have all my food for this trip in this dry bag. I have some peanut M&Ms, which I'll be snacking on the first day, and I have my lunch, like I talked about in the previous video. I just have, for instance, this time it's just Gatorade packet and some ramen noodle. I have it in this odor-proof Ziploc bag, and this will go in the top lid in just a little bit. Now, first off, I start with my sleep system, because we're not going to need our sleep system until we get to camp. Unless something really bad happens, we're usually not going to need it. So I will take my backpack, I'll lay it flat like this. Here I have my underquilts and my quilt right here. This can be your sleeping bag and your sleeping pad. It's the same thing, just adjust to what gear you use. But I'll just take these two bags, I'll throw them in side by side since they weigh pretty much the same thing, and then I'll put the pack up and I'll squash everything down. Now these two bags are made up of down, so they're very, very compressible. Okay? The next thing I'll do is I will take my pillow or any other compressible small object. This can be some extra clothes or whatever else you have with you. And I'll just kind of fill up the spaces in between the sleeping bag and the underquilt or sleeping pad. Next, I'll take my hammock and I will shove that closer to my back in front of the quilts. And again, I will stuff everything down in there. So right now I'm using 1/4 of this pack at the bottom. Then I will take my food bag, since this is a very heavy item, or typically it will be a very heavy item, and I'll put that right in the middle. So right in the middle. And then I will take my extra clothes bag. I'll throw that on the left. Take my tarp, throw that on the right. Now my tarp is really not heavy at all. It's a Cuban fiber tarp. You may need to adjust where you put your tarp or your tent, but again, keep your heavy items towards your back. Alright, the next things, I will just kind of get rid of all the stuff that's out here at random. This is a pack cover that I use. If you do not have a pack cover, I highly suggest you heading on over to DutchWearGear.com. I'm not sponsored in any way, it's just a very good pack cover, and it's very cheap. This is $20 and it's very light. It's probably the lightest pack cover on the market that I've found so far, and it's one of the cheapest too. But since I will need this if it starts raining, I will throw this in my mesh pouch, wherever it fits. I like to bring some polycro with me so I can put my pack down on the ground. If it's muddy, I will also throw that in the mesh pouch. Okay. Then I will take my lunch and I will put this in the top lid. The next thing, I'll take my peanut M&Ms or whatever I'm going to use to snack on during the day, and I'll either throw these into one of the hip belt pockets, depending on how many there are, or I'll just throw it in the top lid because, like I said, I can easily get access to that. But for this video, we'll put it in the hip belt pocket. Okay. Now I have some other random things, like I have the mesh bag I use to hang my food bag. You may have seen this in the last video I did. And I have a compass. Those will also go into the top lid toward the back because they really don't weigh anything. My electronics bag. In here I'll just have like a headlamp. I have like an MP3 player. I'll put my phone in here, and that will go inside the pack to the right of the food bag. Now my electronics can get a little heavy because I'm bringing a whole bunch of camera equipment, so that's usually where they stay. Like I said, everybody's packing system is going to be different. Mine's going to be different from yours. Yours is going to be different from mine. But for the most part, like I said, just keep those principles I said at the beginning of the video in your head while you're packing. We can kind of get rid of these items right here because this is what we're going to bring on our bodies. This is what we're wearing. So we're wearing shoes, gaiters, socks, shorts, and a short sleeve shirt. So we're going to put those off to the side, but we are going to make sure we have them. Now during cold weather, I will bring a puffy jacket. This is just a Mountain Hardwear down jacket. Now sometimes on these down jackets and rain jackets, they have a feature where they stuff into their own pocket. For instance, this Ghost Whisperer right here stuffs in its own pocket, so you can kind of just compress everything down in here. Okay, and then there's my jacket ready to go when needed. I'll also do the same thing with my rain jacket. This is an Outdoor Helium. It's a very good rain jacket. I really like it. But this also has the option, the feature, that it stuffs into its own pocket. Okay, and that's my jackets. Now, the rain jacket, it's light enough that I can put this on the outside pocket, the mesh pocket, and kind of just forget about it. It's a little bulky, but I like it on the outside just because I can take the pack off, reach in, grab it, and put it on without really any downtime. Now the down jacket, the puffy, I will just put this somewhere on the top of the pack that I can easily access it in case I get too cold. Inside here, this cook kit, another video I have on how to pack all this stuff, but the cook kit has my spoon, my windscreen, my stove, and a little measuring cup for my fuel. Now all that nests inside itself, and I will just keep it in the little bag that it came in. I'll just throw that on top because more than likely I will be accessing that throughout the day for, meals. And along with that, I'll have my fuel. I'll measure this out. I'll have a couple ounces extra just in case I need to boil something more. But for the most part, I just bring what I need. I use an alcohol stove. It's very light and it's easy to use. But I will just put this in one of the pockets on the outside, the water bottle pockets. And together with that, I will add a liter of water just in the same pocket right here. I'll take the other liter bottle and put it on the other side. These are my tent stakes. I will also just put them in one of the side pockets where your water bottles go. This is my buff, so I will be wearing that during the day. This is also a little wallet I carry. It just has like a couple bucks and my driver's license in. Nothing major, so if I lose this, it's not a big deal. Now, I like to bring toilet paper. Not everybody does. They usually bring like wet ones, which I bring some of this sometime. But I will put this underneath the top lid along with my, along with my first aid kit. Make sure you always know where your first aid kit is. Keep it in one specific section of your pack from now until the end of time. This way you get hurt, you can tell someone where your kit is. But that'll go with my toilet paper in this mesh pocket. Now I forgot to throw this in, but also in my food bag I will put my toiletries minus the toilet paper, and I'll put my fire making kit, my fire starter. And we'll get into this in the next video. We'll have a how to start a fire video. But I'll put all that into this dry bag with my food. And the reason for that is all that stuff is smelly, so this will be hung at night. I like to keep all the smelly stuff together. Now, again, I would put this in the middle of my pack and toward the back because it is such a heavy item. Okay. Alright, well I think that's about it for the main compartment. So I'll close this up. Okay. Now if you're bringing a tent, and what I do whenever I bring a tent, and this is an REI quarter dome too. This is a 2-person tent. It's actually fluffed up right now. This is just how I store it. But usually this is a lot more compact. But what I do when I bring a tent is I'll put it centered on the top of my pack, and then I will clip it like this, just on top, in between the top lid and the top of the pack. And this is really only if you can't fit it inside your pack, if you don't have a lot of room. You can put it at the bottom of your pack, but what I've noticed, it kind of just sways back and forth. It throws me off balance, and it usually hits up against the back of my legs, and it's really annoying. So this is what I do. I recommend, if you can fit it, put it toward your back in the middle of your pack, and then right next to your food bag almost, and then pack everything else around it. But if you can't fit it, then this is a great way to store your tent for those trips. Now we're almost done. I'll take my water filtration kit. Again, I've talked about this already. And I will also put this into my mesh pocket. This doesn't weigh a lot. And I always like to have that on the outside because that piece will get wet, and I don't like having the inside of my backpack wet. Now, while I'm thinking about that, a lot of people, they have trash compactor bags lining their pack, and the reason for that is it will stop your gear from getting wet. But since I've never needed to use a trash compactor bag, I usually don't really do that. I really should. So eventually I will get around to doing that, but I wanted to give you a heads up about it because maybe it's something you want to do. But like I said, everybody packs differently. I think that's about it. Now after I'm done, I will go on the compression straps and make sure everything's locked down and tightened. And this prevents your pack from swaying back and forth and being really, really annoying. And then my trekking poles will be in my hand. And that's everything. I'll keep a lighter in my pocket along with my knife that I always bring, and I'll keep a lighter inside my first aid kit just in case, along with a book of matches. It's, like I said, it's really not hard to pack. I think a lot of people overthink it, and I think a lot of people miss items because they don't write it down. You know, there's not a place where they can, you know, take the time and write stuff down. So again, lighterpack.com will make this process a whole lot easier for you, and I honestly have never forgotten an item because this is what I still use today. If you have any more suggestions for any other videos, please let me know, comment below, or send me a message via Facebook. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope this helps somebody.